Are the Devils in the same Tkachuk-like situation the Ottawa Senators were in with Brady Tkachuk? Hi, my name is James Nichols, Devils beat reporter via New Jersey Hockey Now. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. If you're not new here, welcome back. So, are the Devils in the same Tkachuk-like situation with the Hughes brothers? No, they're not. It's not the same situation. And there's a number of reasons why that is, but let's break it down here. So, obviously, Brady Tkachuk goes to the Florida Panthers on Sunday in a blockbuster deal that sends the Ottawa Senators 3 first-round picks and a second-round pick. And now, Brady and Matthew Tkachuk are united in Sunrise, Florida. And so now rumors are swirling everywhere. Tampering, Team USA wants to play all together somewhere in the States. And look, some of these allegations, yeah, you could kind of see and understand and point to and say, maybe something is going on here, but zoom the lens in a little bit closer. For a long time, it's been speculated that Brady and Matthew Tkachuk just wanted to play together. And this started actually when Matthew Tkachuk requested a trade out of the Calgary Flames organization and wound up in Florida with the Panthers. And then Team USA goes on to win gold in 2026 this past winter. And all of a sudden, those speculations, those rumors, they were all resurfaced with not only the Kachuk brothers, but all the Team USA players, just given how closely bonded that team felt and how open they were about that team bond. And, now you have a number of players on that Team USA team who have requested or are open to new opportunities via trade. Player names out there right now. You look at Dylan Larkin, you look at Zach Werenski, you look at Connor Hellebuck. These are all names that have surfaced in trade rumors leading up to the draft this Friday that many are wondering, are they going to be on new teams for the 2026-27 season? It looks like Dylan Larkin definitely will be. Other members of Team USA could be as well. Vincent Trocheck is another name out there that a lot of people are seeing that are probably going to be on a new team, and names like the Minnesota Wild come up because of the fact that Bill Guerin is the GM there. But a lot of these Team USA players have certainly, are looking for a new beginning in the NHL with a new team. And so that brings us to the Devils, right? And it's, are the Devils in the same Tkachuk-like situation? Just because given the fact that Jack Hughes, yeah, Team USA member, golden goal scorer, he is the reason why Team USA won the gold. And you look at the situation, he plays with his brother Luke in New Jersey, but the player he played with on Team USA, Quinn, is in Minnesota after Tom Fitzgerald failed to bring Quinn Hughes to New Jersey despite wanting to play here. And Bill Guerin ultimately swooped in and stole Quinn Hughes out from under the Devils' feet when the former Devils GM just couldn't get it done. Well, there's a number of reasons why this isn't exactly the same. For starters, Jack Hughes has 4 years left on his contract as opposed to Brady Tkachuk's 2. So there is some time here for new general manager Sonny Mehta to show Jack that, hey, listen, I'm building a winning culture here. And the reason why I say that there is time for that to happen is because if you look at the teams that Brady Tkachuk put on his short trade list, teams that he would accept to go to, you could see the teams, the kind of teams that he was willing to go to and wanted to play for. Now, the tax-free narrative doesn't work here, right? Obviously, the Vegas Golden Knights were on his list. That's a no-tax state. The Florida Panthers, where he ultimately landed, is a no-tax state. But he also had on his no-trade list, or sorry, on his trade list that he would accept a trade to, he had Minnesota and he had the Carolina Hurricanes. Those are two teams that are not free of tax when these players are paid. So that narrative doesn't fit. Instead, those are all teams with winning cultures. Those are all teams with history, recent history of success. Clearly, the Panthers have 2 Stanley Cups back to back in recent years, just before this season. The Carolina Hurricanes, current Stanley Cup champions, they have recent success, another team that he wants to go to. The Vegas Golden Knights, very similar, recent Stanley Cup champions. And the Minnesota Wild are an up-and-coming team that have just been recently semi-successful in the Stanley Cup playoffs. They have been there for a few years now. They have some good young pieces. Quinn Hughes is there. Bill Guerin is the GM. So there's appeal for a player like Brady Tkachuk to go play in Minnesota. And look, there's going to be appeal for a lot of these Team USA players to go play in Minnesota. That's why you see the Wild on a bunch of trade lists for players to accept a deal to. There's a lot of speculation Dylan Larkin could end up there and Vincent Trocheck could end up there. So there are reasons for these players to want to go to Minnesota. They have winning cultures, or Vegas, winning culture, Carolina, winning culture, and of course, Florida, a winning culture. So that brings us back to the Devils again, right? Is this the same? No, it's not the same because the Devils, look, do they have a winning culture? Not necessarily, right? The 2022-23 season is not that far away, but obviously the Devils were very successful then, and then they had an off year after that, and then they were back on and they made the playoffs, and then they had an off year after that, and now here we are. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that this core, who has seen some great success in the past, which Sonny Meta believes in, by the way, have success very close in the future, starting as soon as 2026-27. It's important to remember what Jack Hughes said about the Devils, too, when he came back from Milan and winning gold with Team USA. I mean, Brady Tkachuk did say all the right things. He wanted to win with the organization that he was a part of and the captain of, and he never claimed that he wanted to leave Ottawa. He said that was more noise from the media and the fans. But Jack Hughes had a much different tone when he came back from winning gold with Team USA, and he poured his heart out, and he wore his heart on his sleeve about being an American citizen and winning gold with that group. But he did not exclude the Devils from that either. He was very, very heart on his sleeve and very open about the fact that he loves being a member of the Devils organization. He loves the fan base. He loves, everything about being in New Jersey. Again, those are things he did not have to say. He did not have to pour his heart out the way that he did versus, the typical, player speak you get from someone when you're questioning them or asking them about their plans for the future. How committed are you? Well, nobody asked Jack Hughes how committed he was to the Devils, and he went out of his way to make sure that everyone in the fan base sitting in Prudential Center that night, the sold out crowd of almost 18,000 people, he made sure that they all knew, I love being a New Jersey Devil and I love being here, and the kind of feeling I have winning with Team USA is what I want to do here in New Jersey. So it's very different tones. And so the real work to make sure that the Devils don't put themselves in a Tkachuk-like situation with Jack Hughes ultimately choosing to maybe leave for Minnesota in a couple of years starts literally right now this summer. So, again, Sonny Menta has said on several occasions, including his introductory press conference when he was introduced as the new Devils GM, that he believes that this team is on the precipice of doing something great. And I don't necessarily disagree. The Devils have a great core to build on. They have obviously Jack Hughes, Luke Hughes on the blue line. They're hoping that he's going to take that step forward this season or this upcoming season in 2026-27 to be that number one puck moving defenseman. We'll see if it happens. There is a pretty good chance that he does take that step forward. Is it going to be next season? We'll find out. They have Nico Hischier, who's on the precipice of signing a new extension. They have Jesper Bratt, Timo Meier. These are all players that are a good core of players to build around. Now, do the Devils have needs? Yeah, they need to fix the goaltending situation. Was their puck transition great last year? No, not necessarily. And yeah, they probably need another top six scorer, especially someone to go on Jack Hughes' line, like we've spoken about several times here. And that work starts right now. This summer is a huge summer for the Devils because, again, like I said, the Devils really only have 2 seasons to convince Jack Hughes that, look, this is a winning culture and we're going to make sure that it is a place where players want to come play. It's not like there have been teams in the past who weren't winning cultures that turned themselves into winning cultures. In fact, the Florida Panthers was that situation just 5-6 years ago before they won the Stanley Cup. That's the reason why they won the Stanley Cups, is because they kind of started to cultivate that winning culture, trading for Tkachuk, right? Making sure that they had players there that were going to help them win championships and create that winning culture. So that's an example of a team creating a winning culture for themselves. A while back, nobody had Minnesota on their trade list, and now, because they're a winning culture, they're on players' trade lists. And you even look at a young team right now north of the border, which you don't really see this happen that much. The Montreal Canadiens are starting to get some players outside of the organization look in at them and say, that's a team I want to go to because they're a winning culture. The work starts this summer. Sonny Mehta has 2 seasons to convince Jack Hughes that he can build a winning culture. The NHL draft is on Friday. The Devils have a number of assets that they can use to upgrade this team right now. They have their first round draft pick, 12th overall, on Friday. They have Simone Nemec that they can try and trade for an upgrade at forward. Dougie Hamilton's name is out there. They have other younger assets like Anton Silyev, Seamus Casey. These assets are desirable to other teams. There are a number of ways the Devils can upgrade themselves through trade. Now, what does that look like? We're not exactly sure yet. We know Hamilton's name has been out there on the trade block. We know Nemec's name has been out there on the trade block. We know a number of top 6 forwards have been out there on the trade block. You look at names like Jason Robertson, Matthew Nyes, and you wonder, could one of these guys land in New Jersey? It's possible, but you also kind of wonder, and look, I'm not reporting anything, this is just pure speculation from myself, but there hasn't been a ton of noise this offseason about, so far at least, about Quinn Hughes signing an extension. Yes, they have said in the past they're open to it on the Quinn Hughes side, and of course the Wild want that to happen, but there hasn't been a ton of talk about that right now. And look, he's eligible to sign one on July 1st, just like Nico Hischier is, and we've heard a lot of talk about Nico Hischier signing that new contract extension that's coming the Devils' way. That's all but signed, sealed, and delivered at this point. We haven't really heard all that much about Quinn Hughes. So could Sonny Mehta pull off what the former GM in Tom Fitzgerald couldn't and maybe snag Quinn Hughes from the Minnesota Wild? It's going to take a huge package, and I'm, again, not reporting this, and it's probably unlikely, and it's more likely that Quinn Hughes signs an extension there, but can the Devils maybe pull a heist here and get Quinn out of Minnesota? I mean, look, the lust for Brady to play with his brother Matthew in Florida was so high that he gave that 14 list of teams that he would go to the Ottawa Senators, but he really made sure, like, hey, I really would prefer to go to Florida. Who's to say Quinn Hughes won't do the same? And the last point I want to make here on why the Devils aren't exactly in the same predicament is that gravitational pull to Quinn. Who's to say it's as much of a gravitational pull to Quinn as it is to Luke, right? A lot of players or a lot of people are assuming that Jack Hughes is going to go leave the Devils just to go play with Quinn Hughes, but everyone forgets that his younger brother Luke is already in New Jersey, and he likes playing with him too, and he likes living with him, and they like being out together in Hoboken, and that New York City vibe that is just a train ride away. All these things are factors in the future of the Hughes brothers in New Jersey. So that you're seeing that right now with leaked photos of Jack and Quinn and Luke out on the town in down the Jersey Shore, right? And look, this is not me saying like, oh, just because Quinn Hughes is spending the summer in New Jersey that he's going to come here, but you certainly you see that and you say, how much are those guys talking about how great would this be year round if we could just be together playing hockey? So look, are the Devils in the same situation as the Ottawa Senators were with Brady Tkachuk having to trade him to Florida and kind of almost having no choice to do it? And yeah, they got a good return in 3 first-round picks and a second-round pick. Did they probably need an NHL player in that deal to make it look even better? Yeah, I would say so, but ultimately a decent return for the Ottawa Senators with what they got. Is it the same situation for the Hughes brothers with Quinn playing in Minnesota and Jack and Luke playing in New Jersey? No, it's not exactly the same, but I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? Do the Devils have the same predicament that the Ottawa Senators had with Tkachuk? I want to know what you guys think. Leave that in the comment. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to Devils Report, and we'll see you on the next one.